So I was finally able to read the new issue of Silk Online, and I kind of wanted to give my quick thoughts. First things first is I absolutely love how they are still showing that she is still very protective of her brother, and for good reason. I mean, for one, he did get brainwashed by a goblin cult. But on the other hand, like in the flashbacks we saw in Times of Life Cindy Moon Volume Zero, she is very protective of her brother even before she became Silk. It was really great to see that, and also, I guess, one hope that I have because of this, I guess, is that we'll see more of her parents again. I don't expect it to happen in this arc because it just wouldn't, I don't think, fit the story well. Just like how her parents were in the last two arcs because they didn't fit that story well too. But I really do think that there's a lot of interesting things that they could do with their parents. You know, on the one hand, you have her dad, who there might be a little bit of distrust with because he was the one that kind of like sold her out to, a wannabe. I don't want to say wannabe Otto Octavius, but like the girl that really wanted to basically have her powers and stuff. Um, and then, but with her mom, who I think a lot of people don't know, is the fact that her mom's kind of a badass. Like, she was this really awesome red knight in the negative realm, but she wanted to go ahead and find her parents. And I think if they brought that back, that could be really interesting, especially with the dynamic, because usually with the father or parent and daughter or son or whatever dynamic, like the family dynamic, it's usually um, the parents who are mentoring the kid. But what if we go ahead and reverse that here and kind of like, I guess, subvert expectations? I think that would be a really neat concept that they chose to go that route within the next volume. But um, in terms of like stuff right now, I do think it's really interesting and kind of cool to see a little bit of the impact that Silk has had around like the people around her in a way. I mean, we're seeing that with this issue with Albert. If they do choose to go the whole she stays in a coma for like all five issues, then I do think that's the route they're probably gonna go. However, I do not like the route of her being in a coma the entire time because it would suck to watch her get sidelined in kind of her own series, and that's kind of like, I guess, a minor concern to have because the story is still too early for us to go ahead and kind of like, I guess, go into that whole like concern about her being trapped in the entire arc. I'm really hoping that's not the case, but if that is the case, I do suspect that they're going to treat it like a whole, we're exploring the impact of Silk has around the people around her kind of a storyline. Um, Ignore that. I really hope my phone doesn't pick up those like notifications like my old phone did. But anyways, I also do like the route that they're going with Saya, with her being this narcissistic, influencer, rich personality, which is a direct contrast with everything that Sydney is and everything kind of Sydney stands for, not only as, Silk, but as Cindy, as this person who um, we've kind of seen where she stands on things like that, especially with Season of the Witch. So having kind of like this arch enemy that's kind of like a foil to everything that Sydney is and everything that Sydney stands for is great for her. And I think it gives her a great villain rather than her kind of getting either the sloppy seconds of like other spider related characters, or for her to just show up at an event just to show how powerful the enemy is by getting like unceremoniously defeated easily, which is that would lead me into a rant about how I feel Sydney has been done dirty by like big events, not only crossover events, but like her own like events where she should be kind of the central focus. But like that's a rant for another time. Um, it is great to see Wong. I don't know what they're gonna do with Wong yet, since he was like literally the stinger at the end of the book. As for if Sydney's going to wake up, I think if she is going to wake up, like, and not spend the entire arc in a coma, it would probably be the next volume. Just because with what we've seen so far is that she's able to get out of these dream realms. Like, she's able to figure out what's going on really quickly and say it has to reset quickly, and she's doing it quicker and quicker. And, I do suspect that the pace that's going, that she's probably going to finally, like, wake up at the end of issue 3. And that's going to be the stinger at the end. And that would kind of suck for us because it means we'd have to wait like a month, but it'd be such a good cliffhanger just from the standpoint of the book writer. Like something that would really make readers go clamoring for more of what's happening next, though you don't really have to do that with me. I will read anything with Silk regardless. Um, yeah, that's kind of what's like going on in terms of like, I guess like that kind of stuff. I think of what else I can really say. But yeah, I do think that this was a good issue. And as much as I love seeing all the variants of Silk, you know, you have the 1920 Silk from the last issue. You have Gunslinger Silk. Why did I say Silk? I meant Silk from this issue. And which I guess the only like one thing I would have loved to see about that Silk is her be a literal web slinger, like, you know, instead of, you know, shooting guns, it's just like, you know, like in a little like Western like draw battle or whatever. But I don't know, like I don't know how really you'd include that in, so that's not really a knock against the comic. And then now Pirate Silk, which is kind of cool. I do know there's like a Space Silk. I don't know if they have any other variants that are happening, but yeah, I guess it's really cool to see all the variants of Silk, though. It would be nice to see the real Silk again, like, because real Silk is always on top. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on this issue. Not really, I guess, like too much to say in terms of like, well, I think the plot is like this way, or like I like the themes of this or whatever, just because like it's still way too early in the series to kind of judge on, or rather this run or this volume to kind of, I guess, judge on what kind of direction the themes the story's trying to convey will go. But yeah, those are kind of my general thoughts, and I kind of want to get those out to you. So yeah, and then hopefully my variant comics will come in next week, maybe. I'm hoping. But yeah,